I mean, if you look, you had to twist yourself into a pretzel to figure out what the crime was.
Judge Judy. I don't know Judge Judy's politics. My guess is she's probably just kind of a moderate, and she's a New Yorker. She probably was a moderate Dem her whole life. I don't know that for sure, but that's basically what I suspect. But most people know Judge Judy, and the reason her show was on the air for 30 years and ranked #1 syndicated show for so long was because basically she calls it as she sees it. She calls balls and strikes. She knows the difference between boys and girls. She knows the difference between right and wrong. She knows you shouldn't be able to walk into a store and steal $800 worth of stuff. That's what kept her on TV. It was genius and very simple at the same time. Here she is being interviewed by Chris Matthews, talking about the trials that Trump is going through and everything else. And listen to how she connects this more largely to what's going on in the state that Andrew Cuomo used to be governor of.
Is that the justice system working, or is it the justice system being manipulated?
I would be happier as someone who owns property in Manhattan if the district attorney of New York County would take care of criminals who are making it impossible for citizens to walk in the streets and use the subway, to use his efforts to keep those people off the street, than to spend $5 million or $10 million of taxpayers' money trying Donald Trump on this nonsense. That's my view. But I, as a taxpayer in this country, resent using the system for your own personal self-aggrandizement. Now, if you didn't know...
And that's what you think the DA did in Manhattan?
That's what I think. I mean, if you look, you had to twist yourself into a pretzel to figure out what the crime was. He doesn't like him. New York City didn't like him for a while.
Trump. What do you think of Donald Trump?
What do I think of him? I think he was a good businessman, a real estate guy, and he was certainly terrific on The Apprentice.
All right, so there's a woman who obviously, you could see she's a little nervous, and she doesn't get nervous at anything, to even describe what she feels about Donald Trump. But she just basically repeated the exact same thing that the former Attorney General Cuomo said about these ridiculous sham trials that Donald Trump's going through in New York. They should not have been brought. And she connects it more largely to the destruction of New York City. She's saying, I own a place. I think it's for sale right now. It's for like $40 million, her penthouse condo somewhere in New York City. And she's like, I would rather they focus on crime and making the subways safe and get the drugs off the street and everything else. But their eye is on destroying the system. They are using the system to destroy the system. That's what these things are all about. Hey, don't click away just yet, because today's video is brought to you by our friends at 1775 Coffee. Guys, instead of waking up tomorrow morning and drinking your mold-infested, big corporation-owned, woke ideology coffee that's probably making you sick from the pesticides it's sprayed with, try Rumble's 1775 Coffee. Support freedom of speech and build a parallel economy that actually values you. Go to 1775 Coffee right now and pick up your first bag. Use code Rubin to save 10% off your first order.